Hi, my name is Shuli Weiner. I'm the director of the Bat Mitzvah and Beyond program at Risha, and I'm also a teacher there. And in addition, I'm a clinical psychologist. In looking at Parashat Chayei Sarah, the parsha begins with the death of Sarah and ends with the marriage of Yitzchak and Rivka. And I think it's fairly clear from the text that the two of these are very much connected. We're told at the beginning of the parsha that Sarah dies, and Abraham is the one who deals with issues around burial and mourning. And Yitzchak isn't mentioned until after we're told that Abraham enlists the help of an Eved or a servant to help find a wife for Yitzchak. The Eved does so. He goes and finds Rivka and brings her back to Yitzchak. And only then we're told that the Eved meets up with Yitzchak, explains to him what's happened, and after that they marry. And in chapter 25, we're told at the end of the parak, Vayivyeha Yitzchak ha'ohala Sarah imo, vayikach et Rivka, vatihi lo leisha, vayavaha, vayinachem Yitzchak acharei imo. Yitzchak brings Rivka to the tent of Sarah, his mother, and he marries her, and he loves her. And then we're told at the end of the verse that Yitzchak is comforted after the death of his mother. Essentially, there's an obvious link with some sort of void that was created with the death of Sarah that was then filled when he married Rivka. And Rashi comments on that pasuk, quoting a famous midrash, Vayivyeha ha'ohala v'naseh dugmat Sarah imo, that in the instant that Yitzchak brought Rivka to his mother's tent, Rivka had the image of Sarah, his mother. Klomar v'harehi Sarah imo, and it was actually the fact that she became Sarah, his mother. Shekol zman shesarah kayemet haya ner daluk me'erev Shabbat le'erev Shabbat u'bracha mitzuya b'isa v'anan kashor aha ohel u'mishemeitav pasku u'kisheba'a Rivka chazru. That while Sarah was alive in her tent, there were 3 miracles that took place that then stopped upon Sarah's death, that then began again in the instant that Rivka came into the tent. So when Sarah died, there was a void, there was an emptiness in Yitzchak, also symbolized by these 3 miracles disappearing. But then the instant that Rivka walked into the tent, these 3 miracles, which is basically that there was a light, a candle that was always lit, that there was a blessing found in her dough, and that the manifestation of God, the Shekhinah Hashem, was found outside her tent. So when these 3 miracles came back, there was clearly a connection between Sarah and Rivka, linking together 2 women. And we know from these parshiot that Sarah and Yitzchak were actually quite close. We know that Sarah was given Yitzchak as a gift to her in her old age, and that she was quite protective over him. She sent Yishmael away when she felt like he was in fact a threat for Yitzchak. And she knew that he was going to be the future of the Jewish people, that it would be through Yitzchak that there would be a nation of Jews. And so in her death, it was surely very difficult for Yitzchak when they had such a close relationship. And it's possible that because of the closeness, that there wasn't really space for Yitzchak to marry while his mother was alive. As we're told in the second chapter in Bereshit, after the creation of man, Ken ya'azav ish et aviv et imo v'davak b'ishto v'hayu lebasar echad, that a man will leave his father and mother, and he will cling to his wife, and they will become one flesh. That part and parcel of getting married is leaving behind one's family of origin, or one's mother and father, and clinging to a wife. And it's possible that Yitzchak couldn't do this while his mother was alive, that there wasn't space in their relationship to create the need for a wife. But after Sarah had died, there was a void that was created and filled, and it seems like one of the reasons that this void was filled was because there was a real connection between the 2 women. And if we think about what shared characteristics these women have, I think we can see from the Psukim that there's a sense of protectiveness, maternal quality. We know the Eved specifically was looking for a wife for Yitzchak that would have offered him water for him and his camels. knowing that Yitzchak would need someone who would be protective and maternal toward him. But we also know that something that Rivka and Sarah shared in common in more of a global level is that both of these women were future oriented. They were thinking about the future. They were thinking about who can be the one to lead the Jewish people. We know that Sarah was very focused on having Yitzchak be the child who goes and develops and becomes the father of the Jewish people. And we know that Rivka was very focused on Yaakov being that. And it was largely because these women were so focused and so dedicated to creating a future that the Jewish people had the imprints of these two very strong and powerful women.